So, you want to be a shaman? Well then, this is the right video for you. So, before getting too far into this, let's define what a shaman actually is. So, shamanism is probably the oldest religion that's known to mankind. And we know this because of some of the cave art that we found that dates back to the Paleolithic. And even today, shamanism is still practiced, and it is the belief system at the center of many indigenous cultures. Now, traditionally, a shaman was the healer, fortune teller, and the font of wisdom and knowledge for the entire tribe. So how then did the shaman managed to accomplish all this miraculous wonderment, I hear you ask? Well, it was widely believed by the tribe that the shaman had a foot in two worlds, the material world in which they all lived in, and he had a foot in the other world, the spirit world, the world of the ancestors. And so it was from the shaman's spirit guides that the shaman received his wisdom and knowledge and was able to cure all ills. So today we're going to cover all the base concepts of shamanism, but we go into update it a bit with some concepts from psychology and the internal psyche and spirit. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So let's now move on to some of the concepts of shamanism. And the brand of shamanism I'll be talking about here will be based on the Celtic belief system. So the first concept we'll cover is animism. And animism is the belief that all things in nature have a spirit. Everything has a soul. And that includes all animals, all inanimate objects, so whether it be a cat or a dog or a human being or a mountain or a rock or a forest of trees, everything has a spirit and a soul. And so in the Celtic world, everything first exists in the spirit world before it's manifest into the physical world. And so, in essence, everything exists simultaneously within the spirit world and the actual physical world. And the shaman is one who is aware of this concept and is able to travel between both worlds. And that leads us on nicely to the three worlds of Celtic shamanism. And they are the upper world, the material world, world in which we all live in, and the underworld. Now the underworld is the world of the spirits and the ancestors. The upper world is the world of inspiration and enlightenment. And of course we all know what the material world is. It's the world that we live in, the world that we are aware of. The shaman, of course, lives in the material world with the rest of us, but he is able to cross over between this world and the other worlds by various means and mechanisms, which we shall discuss later. So the other world refers to both the underworld and the upper world, and is synonymous with the spirit world. And the spirit world, as we'll see later, may be accessed through the internal psyche. To get to these other worlds, the shaman can use a number of techniques, and they all include a shift of consciousness. So, an induction of altered states of mind, and then the shaman can travel along his path to the tree at the center of his universe to travel between the worlds. And so, let's discuss the path and the tree. So the path is the area we seek within the mind's eye when we are beginning to enter a state of altered awareness. And so we envisage this path as a beautiful place that leads to the tree at the center of our universe. And it leads us on from the internal spiritual side. It's the path that leads to the altered state of consciousness. This, in turn, is a trance-inducing mechanism, which is generally assisted by the rapid beating of drums. And so the path starts us on our journey, and that journey takes us to the tree at the center of our universe, or the center of our soul. And this tree at the center of the universe was believed to have sprung up from the earth, and its branches reaching up and holding up the skies, and then down below the roots went down deep into the underworld. And this tree revolved, and hence the stars in the sky revolved around a stationary earth. And it was this tree that the shaman either climbed up to the upper world for inspiration and enlightenment, or climbed down to the underworld for wisdom from the ancestors. So I mentioned earlier that the path was the beginning of the journey towards trance and an altered state of awareness. And these altered states of awareness, I told you, were assisted by a number of mechanisms. And so, drumming, chanting, and dancing are all mechanisms used by the shaman to achieve that trance state. So we know of the path and the tree and the spirit worlds, and we know of trance. But the question now arises, what's the purpose of all this? I mean, what do we do when we climb the tree and get to one of these spirit worlds? What do we do when we get there? So at first, on your first journeys, what you should be doing is seeking out and acquainting yourself with your spirit guides and your totem animals. These guides then, with careful nurturing, will form a bond within your internal psyche, and they will be there to guide you and assist you, whether it be for some spiritual healing purpose or whether it be for some more abstract concept of spirituality. The point is that these guides will conceptually bond with your own idea of self and form an integral part of your internal psyche. And so it's a very important part of the practice of shamanism to continue to nurture and interact with your spirit guides and your totem animals. Now, using the path and the tree and entering into the spiritual realms is called or the process of that is called a shamanic journey. And to get you started with the shamanic journey, I've created such a video, and I'll put a link to it up there, and it'll get you started on all the base concepts that we've discussed here: finding the path, finding the tree, and traversing the tree into the spirit world to find your spirit guide. So the link will be up there, and I'll put a link down in the description. I often say comments, but it's in the description. It'll be in the description down below. Okay then, so let's now talk about some of these concepts in a modern world. And the first thing I would say, that the spirit world is not, let's get this out the way with right now, the spirit world is not the world of ghosts, or it's not the world of ghosts. The spirit world may be seen as the world of your psyche. It's the world of your conscious mind, and that conscious mind, your conscious mind, is the bridge to what Jung called the collective subconscious. So, the other worlds, the spirit world, is the world purely of creation. It's the world where your spiritual being exists, your conscious mind exists. So I think that's the best way I can put it, is that the world of spirit is the world of your internal psyche. Now, secondly, the work you're doing when acquainting yourself and getting to nurture your spirit guides is really accessing parts of the collective unconscious, parts that are available to us all. So then, the next question is, what is the purpose of all these journeys and meeting our spirit guides? I mean, what's the benefit of that to us? So I'd say the main benefit is through spiritual enlightenment and inner healing. So in this stress-riddled world, it's so easy to get caught up and distracted leading to stress-related health issues in life. But I think the most important thing to come out of all of this will be the fact that this will help you become at one with nature and hence closer to spirituality. You see, up until now, or let's say the modern consensus of spirituality places man at the center of the universe, and man is at the center of everything. And of course this can't be true. Without the infrastructure of the universe, the stars in the sky, the sun, the moon, the earth itself, man or life on earth wouldn't exist at all. So in reality, nature is as close as you'll get to deity. So now then, let's talk about things in terms of what should I practice? How do I do this? And the first thing I would say, the first thing on my list, is to practice becoming aware of your surroundings. Now, that's easier said than explained, but I suppose what it really means is allowing yourself, allowing your mind to sit and listen to the environment around you without any physical interaction. So such things as maybe lighting up a candle and watching the shadows around the room and allowing your mind to let run with that and see the shapes and see the figures. Now, I did a review for a book a couple of weeks ago called Between the Worlds. I think you'll see the videos, Witchcraft meets the Kabbalah or something like that. And in that book, there were three very good exercises on becoming aware. Now, I know I'll put a link to it up there, and I will be putting, I think, at least another link up there as well. And I know it's a lot of links, but the point is, all these videos are related. They're all connected together in some way or another. So the other thing I'd say in terms of practice, especially in the Celtic tradition of shamanism, is to know and understand your Pantheon. Because in the Celtic tradition, the other world is the residence of the gods. So next on the list is to start journeying. Now, journeying is probably the most important thing you can do. And to help you get started, you'll find another video on the channel. And it's a Shamanic Journey to find your spirit guide. And that will bring all these concepts of the path, the tree, and the journey itself together. Now, that video has a full introduction into all these concepts. It gets you started finding your path, finding the tree, and then of course the journey itself. So there's an hour's journey whereby you're guided down to, well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but then you're left to journey for yourself, and there's a call back at the end. So that'll bring most of this stuff together for you. So, with all the concepts that we've laid out for you here now, and the video resource that I posted earlier to introduce you to a shamanic journey, to find your spirit guides, I think that's enough for you to start taking your first steps. And I'd like to ask that if you found it interesting, then give us a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, then consider subscribing for more content such as this. And with that, I'll see you again on the next one.